When Napoleon Hill opens Think and Grow Rich, he begins not with a tactic nor a technique, but with a foundational truth. Every achievement in human history begins with a single thought. Hill reminds us that success, whether measured in money, influence, creativity, or purpose, never starts from luck, talent, or perfect circumstances. It starts in the mind, with a thought so clear and so dominant that it reshapes the person holding it. This philosophy wasn't born from theory. Hill spent more than 2 decades studying the greatest achievers of his time, a journey set in motion by the industrial titan Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie believed that success could be distilled into a formula anyone could learn. And so he challenged Hill to uncover it. Hill accepted. For 20 years he interviewed more than 500 of the most accomplished individuals of the early 20th century, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Alexander Graham Bell, Theodore Roosevelt, and countless others. Through their stories, their habits, their failures, and their triumphs, Hill began to see a pattern. A collection of principles shared by every person who rose to greatness, whether they knew it or not. In his introduction, Hill tells us that a secret runs through every chapter of the book. He never states it plainly. Instead, he invites us to discover it ourselves, through reflection, through emotion, and most importantly, through application. It is a secret that cannot be understood intellectually. It must be lived. And so Hill sets the stage with a powerful reminder. The mind is your greatest tool, and mastery of the mind is the foundation of every form of wealth. Chapter 1. Desire. The birthplace of riches. Hill begins with a truth so simple it's easy to overlook. Nothing begins until you have a burning desire. Desire in Hill's view is not hope. It is not wishful thinking. It is an obsession, a clear, unwavering intent that refuses to die even when the world says it should. To illustrate this, Hill introduces us to Edwin C. Barnes, a man with no money, no education, and no connection to the great Thomas Edison. Barnes wanted not just to work for Edison, but to become his partner. Against all logic, he boarded a freight train to New Jersey and showed up at Edison's laboratory with nothing but determination. Edison later said he hired Barnes because he saw something in his eyes, a fire. It took years, but Barnes eventually became Edison's business partner and amassed great wealth. His success didn't come from skill or resources. It came from one thing. A desire so strong it refused to accept any alternative. Hill turns this story into a formula. Burning desire plus definite plan plus persistence equals success. Then he gives 6 concrete steps anyone can follow to transform desire into real wealth. He instructs us to set a specific goal, define what we will give in return, set a deadline, create a plan, write our intention down, and read it aloud twice a day with emotion. Emotion is the key. Hill repeatedly insists the subconscious mind responds not to logic but to feeling. He closes the chapter with a warning. Most people fail not because they lack opportunity but because their desire is weak. They quit too soon. Temporary defeat scares them away before success can catch up. The world, Hill says, rewards the person who refuses to stop. Chapter 2. Faith. The inner certainty. Hill describes faith as a mental state created through repetition, affirmation, and emotional involvement. Not religious faith, a deep inner certainty, a belief so strong it reshapes reality. Faith, he says, is like a chemical that mixes with thought and gives it power. Through repetition, spoken words, visualized images, and emotional practice, the subconscious mind begins to accept a belief as truth. And once the subconscious accepts something, it acts relentlessly to bring it into reality. Hill reminds us of a difficult truth. Your subconscious accepts whatever you repeatedly tell it, even if it is negative. This means fear, doubt, and self-criticism can sabotage success as easily as confidence can build it. So Hill gives us the self-confidence formula, a daily mental routine to strengthen belief. Faith, he says, is essential. Without it, desire cannot manifest. With it, miracles start to happen. Chapter 3. Autosuggestion. Speaking to the subconscious. Autosuggestion is the bridge between the conscious mind and the subconscious. Every thought we repeat, every emotion we dwell on, becomes a seed planted in the subconscious mind. Over time, these seeds grow into habits, beliefs, and eventually results. The subconscious mind never sleeps. It absorbs everything: your fears, your doubts, your ambitions, your dreams. And it cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood. It simply accepts repetition. Hill teaches us to use autosuggestion consciously. Read your goals aloud. Visualize the future as if it already exists. Feel it emotionally. Repeat it until your subconscious accepts it. Because once it does, action becomes natural, and success becomes inevitable. Chapter 4. Specialized knowledge. Power with a purpose. Hill makes a clear distinction. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. General knowledge, the facts most people collect and never use, has little value. Specialized knowledge, aimed at a definite purpose, becomes a tool for wealth. And you don't need to know everything yourself. You can assemble a team, hire experts, or partner with others, just as Henry Ford did. Hill urges us to constantly evaluate ourselves. What do we need to learn? What skills must we acquire? What weaknesses must we compensate for? Success, he insists, belongs to those who never stop learning and who apply what they learn toward a clear goal. Chapter 5. Imagination. The mind's workshop. Everything created by humans, from skyscrapers to songs, began in the same place. The imagination. Hill describes two forms of imagination. Synthetic imagination, which rearranges old ideas into new combinations. Creative imagination, which receives fresh ideas, inspirations, and intuitive insights. Hill believes creative imagination is activated by strong emotion, desire, faith, love, or even sexual energy. Ideas are the beginning of every fortune. But ideas alone are not enough. They must be shaped by imagination and acted upon with persistence. Imagination, Hill warns, atrophies with disuse. It grows with practice. Chapter 6. Organized planning. Turning ideas into action. Desire gives birth to goals. Imagination creates ideas. But only planning turns ideas into action. Hill emphasizes the importance of creating a definite plan and beginning immediately, even if the plan is imperfect. Successful people revise their plans constantly until they work. Unsuccessful people quit when their plans fail. He also introduces the concept of the mastermind, a harmonious group of people united toward a common purpose. No one succeeds alone, he says. Cooperation multiplies ability. And he outlines the traits of effective leadership: courage, discipline, fairness, decisiveness. He warns about the causes of leadership failure, from selfishness to fear of competition. Above all, Hill insists, action is essential. Without it, no plan survives. Chapter 7. Decision. The cure for procrastination. Hill makes a striking observation. Successful people make decisions quickly and firmly. Unsuccessful people take forever to decide and change their minds constantly. Indecision breeds doubt. Doubt breeds fear. Fear kills opportunity. Hill warns that too many lives are shaped by the opinions of others, family, friends, society. True success requires independent thought and the courage to stand by your choices. Decision transforms desire into action. It builds momentum. It strengthens faith. Procrastination is the enemy. Decision is the cure. Chapter 8. Persistence. The sustained effort. Persistence is the force that keeps desire alive. Hill explains that most failures happen because people quit too soon. They face temporary defeat and assume it is permanent. But defeat is not a dead end, it is a signal to adjust the plan. Persistence, he says, is built from desire, purpose, discipline, and a mind closed against negativity. He reminds us of the stories of Edison, Ford, and the Wright brothers, people who endured countless failures but kept moving forward. Persistence is the difference between quitting and growing, between giving up and breaking through, between wishing and achieving. Chapter 9. The Mastermind. The Power of Many. Hill returns to the idea of the mastermind, a unified group of people working in harmony toward a definite purpose. He believes that when two or more minds come together, a third, more powerful mind emerges, a collective intelligence greater than the sum of its parts. This alliance brings not just practical advantages like knowledge and resources, but emotional benefits: encouragement, inspiration, and resilience. Harmony is essential. Without it, the mastermind collapses. Behind every great fortune, Hill says, there is a mastermind partnership. Chapter 10. The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. This is one of Hill's boldest claims. Sexual energy, when redirected, becomes a source of creativity, passion, and drive. He is not referring only to physical expression, but the emotional force behind sexual desire, the force that stirs imagination, intensifies ambition, and fuels inspiration. Hill argues that this energy has pushed many of history's greatest leaders and creators to extraordinary achievements, especially when blended with love and romance. He encourages sublimation, using the energy creatively rather than suppressing it. When channeled properly, this energy becomes a catalyst for genius. Chapter 11. The Subconscious Mind. The inner powerhouse. Hill describes the subconscious mind as a constantly active force, the link between our thoughts and the physical world. It receives instructions from the conscious mind, amplifies them through emotion, and expresses them through action, habit, and intuition. He lists the emotions that empower the subconscious: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. And the emotions that poison it: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, anger, superstition. The subconscious mind is fertile ground. Whatever you plant, positive or negative, will grow. Chapter 12: The Brain, the broadcasting station of thought. Hill compares the brain to a radio transmitter and receiver. Thoughts vibrate like energy. When charged with emotion, they broadcast even more powerfully. And just as the brain sends out thoughts, it can also receive ideas from other people, from the subconscious, or from what Hill calls infinite intelligence. A stimulated brain, energized by desire, love, sex, enthusiasm, or the mastermind, is far more capable of creativity and insight. Chapter 13: The Sixth Sense, the door to wisdom. After all the previous principles are understood and practiced, Hill introduces the final one: intuition, the sixth sense. This is the faculty that gives sudden insights, warnings, ideas, and inspirations. It operates quietly through the subconscious, and becomes more reliable as the other principles strengthen the mind. Hill shares his practice of imagining a council of historical figures, using imagination to stimulate creative thought. He insists that intuition becomes a powerful guide once the mind is disciplined and aligned with purpose. The sixth sense is the pinnacle of mastery, where intelligence meets insight. Chapter 14: The Six Ghosts of Fear. Hill ends the book with a warning. No matter how strong your desire, how clear your plan, or how persistent your effort, fear can destroy everything. He identifies 6 fears: poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, death. These fears infiltrate the subconscious and weaken every other principle. They express themselves through procrastination, indecision, hesitation, doubt, and self-sabotage. Hill urges readers to confront these fears directly, to examine their behaviors honestly, and to take control of their thoughts before fear takes control of them. Because fear, he says, is the true enemy of human potential. Conclusion: the mind as creator of destiny. Hill closes Think and Grow Rich with a return to his central message. Every achievement begins with a thought. Every failure begins with allowing fear to dominate thought. The 13 principles he presents work together as a system that unlocks the creative power of the mind. Hill challenges us to take action, to think, to desire, to plan, to persist, to transform inner belief into outer reality. He reminds us that failure is temporary, limitations are self-imposed, and destiny is shaped by the thoughts we choose to hold. The mind is the master. Fear is the enemy. Desire is the spark. Faith is the fuel. Persistence is the path. Intuition is the guide. Action is the bridge. And riches, material or spiritual, are the result. Hill's promise is timeless. If you know what you want, if you desire it deeply, if you believe in it, plan for it, persist through every setback, and refuse to be controlled by fear, you will succeed. Because the laws of the mind, Hill insists, are always at work, and they favor the person bold enough to use them.